Welcome back. My name is Corinne Phillips, and this is Fresh Pea Cooks. Today I want to show you how to make the most delicious faux gras. Cruelty-free, no geese suffered in the making of this faux gras. It's not foie gras, this is faux gras, made with mushrooms, onions, walnuts, and green lentils. Since I've spent most of my life as a plant eater, I will admit I've never had a foie gras. I've actually walked out of restaurants because they served it. For those of you who aren't familiar with foie gras, it is unnaturally fattened goose liver pate. They force feed the geese until their liver becomes very fatty and enlarged, and that is the delicacy. As an animal lover, I can't imagine such a process, and I can't imagine finding something like that delicious. But this faux gras is fantastic. It's the most beautiful, herby, fresh spread, and it's such a fun thing to bring to picnics. This past weekend we were up at Lost Lake with some friends, and my girlfriend and I went out on paddle boards, and I came back to this and a bunch of people asking for the recipes. So it's a hit, this faux gras. There is a little bit of cooking involved, but it just takes about 8 or 10 minutes. What we're going to do first, we're going to put our mushrooms in a frying pan with our onions and the garlic and some of our herbs. Saute them until the mushrooms lose their water. So when you cook mushrooms, they'll start to brown, and then they'll lose their water and get all watery, and then that water evaporates and you're done. That's what we're after. The onions will be slightly browned, and that will just give the starchy onions a sweeter, kind of more complex note. So we're going to saute those. The rest of the ingredients we're just going to put in our food processor and add our sauteed onions, and that's it. Buzz it, store it in the refrigerator. It'll keep for like 4 or 5 days, maybe 6 days, and it is so good. I love it spread over a really beautiful baguette, but we had some white salad turnips at the farmer's market this week, and it's fantastic on salad turnips. I'm using fresh rosemary. If you don't have it, you can use dried rosemary as well, because this is going to be really, really well blended. I would just omit dried rosemary from your herb closet forever and do the world a favor. It's like literally like eating dried pine needles. I don't understand it. You can't really pick it out of stuff. The fresh rosemary is so fantastic, and the dried stuff is so eh. This beautiful sage, this is just a silver kind of flat leaf sage, and it has that really kind of complex fall flavor that we associate with Thanksgiving, and some English thyme. This dip is a really umami. It's a very complex flavor, and the mushrooms add umami, the lentils add umami, and so does soy sauce. Now this is shoyu. Shoyu is unpasteurized soy sauce, naturally fermented. It's got all of the good stuff in it, so I like using that over just regular soy. And I'm going to flavor it with a little bit of, this is brandy. It's a local apple brandy from Clear Creek here. You can use brandy, you can use cognac, you can use anything kind of in that family. I don't really know my hard alcohols that great. You don't have to use it, you can omit it, but I would recommend it. And then the juice of 2 small lemons. We want about 2 tablespoons, so if you have a big lemon, go ahead and do that. And a cup of toasted walnuts. You can also use toasted pecans. Pecans have such a rich flavor, and they add a really nice dimension to them, but I'm using walnuts today. We're going to use just a splash, like a teaspoon at the most, of maple syrup. If you don't have maple syrup, you can use brown sugar, coconut sugar, palm sugar, anything with a little bit of a caramely note. I'm just going to rough chop this onion, And I'm not going to get too crazy with it because this is all going to be blended. And I don't really want little tiny pieces because I want the onion and the mushroom to cook at the same time. So I'm going to do large dice. Now I love this dip because it can also be used as a spread for sandwiches. All right, garlic cooks a lot faster than onions, especially with mushrooms if I'm leaving these guys whole. So I'm going to add that in at the last couple minutes because I don't want the garlic to burn. Now this is a vegetarian dip. It can easily be made vegan by omitting the ghee and instead using vegetable oil to saute your vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and add in my sage. Just going to give it a rough chop. Rosemary. Now when you're cooking with fresh herbs, pull off what you can from the woody stem, and then if the top of it comes off, you don't have to pick each one of those. That means it's soft enough to eat, and we just call that part of it. And thyme. So this is what the mushrooms and onions will look like. These caramelized edges, the herbs will just start to get really fragrant. This is what you want. Now in the bowl of our food processor, we're going to just put all of the ingredients. Our toasted walnuts, cayenne pepper. I'm going to add about a tablespoon, maybe slightly less. And you can adjust the seasonings to taste. And when you're using soy sauce in a recipe, this is very, very salty. Use the soy sauce before you salt it and just adjust it using salt. Our French green lentils, now these were just cooked with water, a bay leaf, and an onion, just pretty simply. The acid from the lemon juice gives the dish a little freshness, but it also helps enhance that flavor. If I get it in the bowl, not all over me. Once you start cooking, you'll get a feel for recipes that will work or not, but you have to learn that by tasting as you go. So we can adjust all of these seasonings later at the end of the dish, but I've learned that from trying something and tasting it, and trying something else and tasting it. Now I'm just going to blitz this for 2 minutes or so. I want everything to be really nice and incorporated. I want those walnuts to break down into a paste so that they kind of bind it all together, and it has a consistently like smooth texture. Okay, let's taste this. The acid and the sweetness is perfectly balanced. It needs a little more salt, and I'm going to add a little more black pepper because I really like that kind of peppery punch. And because this is a spread, and we're going to be eating it on things like fresh vegetables or bread that is not very salty, I like making it just a hair saltier than you'd be comfortable eating, because once it's put on something that's fairly neutral, the flavor, the saltiness will be perfect. It's absolutely delicious.